21 days. I just had my second full, real, expansive Nourish practice here at the Dome. And I had to make this recording because I have to say I'm back in. I was able to receive intelligence and clarity and information in my practice in a way that I haven't been able to access for 3 weeks now, which is so hard for me because this is my daily practice, my lifeline to God and energy. So I just feel the top of the well just coming off and the fluid body beginning to have some freedom. Oh God, even spontaneous freedom to flow like that is the biggest gift. I was realizing I used to think of the body in terms of strong exercise, cardio, flexibility, strength and flexibility in yoga, and my experience now is all about buoyancy, fluidity, and sort of access, awareness to all the little nooks and crannies inside my spine, buoyancy, the ability to have this natural sort of expansion and contraction, kind of like a seahorse, and the expansion of my energy and my awareness beyond my skin, which has always been a really magical experience in embodiment and in yoga practice and meditation practice, and it's really been even stronger and expanding more through the Nourish practice. People ask me, they're so sweet, how are you feeling today, or are you in pain right now? And I just realized that that is such a hard thing to answer because number one, I don't want to be identified with being sick, and I don't want to be talking about being sick all the time. So I personally don't want to talk about how I'm physically feeling. Although I really appreciate the intimacy in the inquiry. And number two is I'm a master dissociator. I've been doing it since I was a toddler, maybe forever. This episode in this last few weeks, I really feel and know in my being was the burning down of the wall of denial and the integration of the split, that I've been split off from an aspect of my being and my body all my life. I just sort of shoved all my trauma and all my pain into the dark because I live for the light. And actually that reminds me of one of my doctors, who's the Lyme specialist who actually diagnosed me in Sydney. Her name is Dr. Kylie Seaton. She called me out, I remember last year when I was talking about the Path of the Light practice and how every morning I would go out into the rising sun, and I'd really weave my awareness into relationship with the sun, then draw the energy and the information from the sun back into my being, and back and forth until I had enough energy for the day. And she just chuckled at me and said, you think that the light is out there, but the light is in the dark. Stop running out and reaching for the light and dive into the dark. And so here we are, probably about a year later, and I'm just beginning to understand what she's talking about. And this relationship with intelligence that goes all the way in, and then from within, every cell expands every aspect and layer and organ and connective tissue. Everything begins to unwind and expand. And in that, there becomes the path of the light runs inside and outside and inside and outside. And so really, this is something that is informing me and guiding me in every Nourish practice, and I'm beginning to understand that there's oscillation pathways that the body knows. The body is the record keeper of lifetimes and everything that we haven't wanted to see in this lifetime and in others. And it knows. It's intelligent. And it knows how to plug in to the intelligence of all that is. So this is what I'm exploring. And I'm inviting you in with me. And in that answer to, are you in pain today? For someone who has Neuro Lyme, there's always a level of yes to that answer. Because the pain lives at such a deep level in what they call the dura, which is the be almost like the nylon sock that wraps around the spinal cord and the neck and up and over the brain. It's like, it's the innermost layer of the connective tissue. And especially someone like me who's had meningitis, encephalitis, Lyme encephalitis, so forth, it's at that meningeal layer, at the inside of the dura layer, that the inflammation happens. And I may not be in excruciating pain in my awareness standing there talking to someone, but when I get down on the floor and I begin to roll, I become aware of the pain and where it's living, and in the contraction and all of the nano layers at the deepest connective tissue level. And that's why these practices are everything to me, because every day I go in and I nourish and I love and I have compassion and I move sound, and I'm in the oscillation and just nurturing the freedom for the fluid in my body. And not only does it connect me to the intelligence of all that is, I call this God. And when I say God, it's not masculine. God is the integration of the masculine and the feminine for me in my body, in my being, expressing through me and running as intelligence on that fluid nature that I am, that is held in this practical three-dimensional body. So for instance, right now I just had a phenomenal practice, but it just feels like the top layer of this layer of tissue I'm talking about, all around my neck, all around my spine, all up and over my head, even through my eyes. It feels like pantyhose that have gotten on your leg way too tight and are twisted, and you're just kind of starting to unwind them, and you're starting to get some freedom. You may think you might get this twisted, demented constriction off your leg at some point. That's the kind of pain I'm dealing with on a daily basis. And it's my teacher. As corny as it sounds, and it has been for 20 years. But this phase, this level of relationship to it, and what it's teaching me about what it means to be a human, and what it means to have a body and to be in relationship with a body, and even more so what it means for a soul to claim the body. I'm realizing facing this illness or dis-ease in my body is, for me, my soul's reclamation of my body. And it's just purging and moving everything that is not aligned out. And when I can see it from that perspective, I know this is absolutely the path to what's most important to me and the whole reason why I'm here. And sharing it feels like the scariest thing ever, and like the only right choice. I'm dedicating this experience and this experiment of facing disease and trauma to the benefit of all humanity and all beings. And I'm diving in. I've already dove in. I was just still running. So I'm not running anymore. And here we are. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for following the journey. Thank you for supporting me in all the ways that you do. And together, may we find the cure.